Hey, good morning, good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this video. Today it is indeed Tuesday, the 4th of January 2022. So it's my pleasure to say to you, Happy Hypnotism Day. It is indeed World Hypnotism Day. And I was going to share with you some hypnotherapy self-help stuff, but all of that is at the link that's below or above this video, depending on where you see it. There's a free virtual hypnotherapy treatment session. There's a link to the ultimate self-help books and audios and a whole bunch of stuff to help you with your life. What I really wanted to talk about is that in the past couple of days, what has gone viral on the internet is the hashtag mass psychosis, or the hashtag mass formation, or the hashtag mass formation psychosis. Now, this is following an interview that Joe Rogan, the American comedian and podcast host, did with a Dr. Robert Malone, a gentleman who claims that he created the mRNA vaccines used in the a lot of the COVID vaccines. Although a cursory, very little searching required to discover that he was not, I repeat, he was not the original creator of the mRNA vaccines. He was instrumental, in the start of it, but he was not the original creator, despite an impression he may have given on various occasions. So, you've always got to check and research things. Here's the thing though, in a recent interview with Joe Rogan, this Dr. Robert Malone guy, who, again, do your research, but in the past he's done numerous projects that have been funded and helped along by the American government. So it makes you wonder whose interest he's really acting in, because you may have heard of controlled opposition, which is someone who plays the part or comes across as though that they're taking an anti-establishment position on something, but in truth they're actually working for the establishment, and it's what they call a psyop, a psychological operation. Arguably it's waking hypnosis, which is why it's quite relevant to mention this on World Hypnotism Day. Now, the thing is, this being hailed all over the internet and it's gone viral has been some major revelation that people have been psychologically manipulated, emotionally manipulated, some would say brainwashed or hypnotized, because hypnosis is merely suggestion and communication and emotional manipulation, and indeed that's what has been going on. But they're like, it's some major revelation, and like Dr. Robert Malone has just broken the doors open by quoting another doctor whose details are on my blog at the link above or below this video, the other guy that he quotes. But it's the thing, it's nothing new. I'll give you an example. If you want to know more about group psychology, groupthink, and all that kind of stuff, your major resources I would say you need to look at, although there's a lot more out there, but the real ones are as follows. 1841. In 1841, Charles Mackay, that's M-A-C-K-A-Y, Charles Mackay published a book called Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. It's a massive encyclopedia about group mentality, psychology, and how to manipulate people, and how it's so much easier when they're together in crowds. Then in 1895, Gustave Le Bon, that's spelled G-U-S-T-A-V-E, Gustave Le, L-E, Bon, B-O-N, a French author, wrote a book called The Crowd, A Study of the Popular Mind. Then in 1928, I would suggest that the book that was written, Propaganda, by Edward Bernays, is the first kind of exploration into, how shall we say, fake news and manipulating the message and narrative people get to your own end, but combined with the information in Charles Mackay and Gustave Le Bon's books, actually that has got all the underlying key elements of what is now apparently the in thing, i.e. mass formation psychosis, or mass formation, or mass psychosis, depending on which tag you've seen. Really, it's groupthink, it's just group hypnosis, it's suggestion, emotional manipulation combined, in this instance, in this context, for nefarious means for people to get what they want without the majority of the population realising. Another great book was published in 1984. There were loads in between, but I'd be here forever if I went through them all. 1984, called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. And then in 2017, a friend and colleague of mine who I've interviewed on my www.hypnosisweek.com podcast, Chase Hughes, wrote a book called The Ellipsis Manual, subtitled Analysis and Engineering of Human Behaviour. There's been tons of other books, and then how this all comes together to manipulate the mass populace into doing things that the powerful elites want. Some of those things are for the general public's own best benefit. Some of them are probably not and are just for their benefit to make more money, to gain more control or whatever. That's a totally different discussion. But the point is the way they influence and control people through emotional and psychological manipulative means, and what the bigger picture of the world is in relation to Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, the Great Global Reset, and all this all links together, is detailed in my book, published in 2019, called Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, subtitled Conspiracy Theories, MK Ultra Mind Control, just going to make sure I get this right, Brainwashing and Social Engineering Exposed. You'll find the links on my blog that are above or below this video. Now the thing is, that was released in 2019, but I've been teaching and talking about group psychology, mentality and emotional and psychological manipulation, both of a positive and nefarious nature, and how to protect yourself against it for decades now, literally decades. I've appeared on TV shows saying that it's possible to get people to do things against their will when you truly know what you're doing as a hypnotist or psychological influencer. These days it's not termed as group hypnosis or mentioned as being hypnosis. The terms that tend to get used by the military, by the governments, by their advisors such as the Behavioural Insights team, BIT for short, also dubbed the Nudge Unit in Westminster, who are linked to the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, which oddly enough are in the same building as the British Psychological Society, and together they were collectively linked in the past to the Tavistock Hospital, and in turn to the MK Ultra mind control experiments. All of this I go into detail about in my documentary film Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, which again you'll find for free at the links above or below this video. It's on my blog, as are videos and audios of several podcasts I've done in the past, and I'm talking about in early 2020, relating to the pandemic, and where I talk about psychological operations, where I talk about information warfare, information operations, psychological warfare, psychological operations, psyops, cognitive warfare, as it's now also called. I talk about these things, and mimetic warfare, which is the idea of using visual images, memes, with messages on, to impart incorrect, factually incorrect information, but to make people believe it to be true. Because the unconscious mind works on visual imagery. That's why when you dream at night, those people who remember the dreams, not everyone remembers them, but you do dream, it can be very abstract. The unconscious, subconscious mind works in abstract imagery. And therefore an image with words on is more likely to catch attention and also have an impact and send that message through to your unconscious mind, reprogramming your personal neck-top computer into believing things through repetition of seeing this being shared all over the internet, quite often initially through bot accounts, being fake accounts that are set up by psyop operations of the military. There's up the top of my head, the 88th Battalion, had a mental block on that in UK, but they've got them all over the world. Psyop divisions of the military that literally just are on the internet spreading these memes, mimetic warfare, to put false information into your mind. Why would they want to do that? Well, here's the thing. If you go to my blog link above or below this video, you will see also links on that blog to my friend and colleague Neil Saunders' mind control blog. On there he's done an immense amount of research, and he's covered and looked at many of the basically misconceptions and myths that have been spread around the internet. This idea that COVID isn't real, untrue, most certainly is. All the daft things that some people have been spreading around, like it's never been isolated, that certain tests don't work. Oh, You name it, if you've read about it or seen it, the chances are that it's likely not true. And this is really going to upset the truth community, the conspiracy world, the alternative news media, as it were. But what Neil's done is he's done proper research, as in, you know, a university student would properly do, or a scientist would properly do. And he's found the evidence I know this will upset some people, but he's found the evidence that proves the vast majority of stuff out there being spread by these memes or stuff being shared on social media is, at best, taken out of context and missing bits of information, but quite often is just directly incorrect, inaccurate, or blatant lies. And the proof is there. Go and check out the link above or below this video. Check out his blog pages. Check out the evidence he gives and the sources. Verify it for yourself. Try to disprove what he's found. Unfortunately, I know that many of you will be suffering from cognitive dissonance, which is that you will be holding on so dearly to this idea that it's a complete made-up thing and doesn't exist, and all these other lies that are out there, and then being shown the evidence that proves the reality of things that you currently believe to be untrue. It's very uncomfortable, and it puts the mind into a state of, I don't want to accept that. In that state, more often than not, the majority of people remain with what's comfortable, i.e. dismissing all this evidence and hanging on to their false beliefs. But here's the thing, if you are honest with yourself and you really want the truth, if you go to the link above or below this video, go to Neil's blog after you've watched the videos on my blog page explaining information warfare, psychological psyops, and how people are emotionally psychologically manipulated, then you will start to see the bigger picture. And then when you decide to be honest to yourself, go and check out Neil's stuff and try to disprove it. When you can't disprove it, then, well, you've got two choices. You either carry on with cognitive dissonance and lie to yourself, or you do what deep down you know should be right and is right, and that is you go with the facts, evidence and reality. And that will then cause you to have to question some of the so-called experts, the so-called authority figures, leading lights in the so-called truth movement and conspiracy world, as it were, who apparently during this pandemic have been telling you this is true, and this other thing's true, and that governments are lying to you. I'm not saying that governments aren't lying to you. They most certainly are on a daily basis from all areas of your life, just as the media are every day from all areas of your life on different things, so that they can keep you submissive, easily controlled, doing what they want, so they can make more money out of you, so that they can have the control and the power. It's all stuff that's explained in my documentary Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, which is free to watch at the link above or below this, and is expanded on in great depth. And the things to research are Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, the Great Global Reset, and the phrase Build Back Better. All of these things and more are covered in my book Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, subtitled Conspiracy Theories, MK Ultra Mind Control, Brainwashing and Social Engineering Exposed, available in my stage name Jonathan Royle from Amazon and all major booksellers. All the information's at the links above or below this video anyway. But here's the thing, you've then got to question the people. Are they up front? Have they suddenly shot to fame because they've got these cutting edge truths? Or have they shot to fame because they've apparently been banned from media making them appear controversial? Has that happened on purpose? Has that been engineered so it causes controversy? Because controversy is the best way to get attention sometimes. And then people talk and go, oh, this person's been banned. They must therefore be saying something that the powers that be want to hide. Could it be that actually they want to draw more attention to it without you, the majority of people, realising? Well, think about this. When you go and look at Neil Sanders' Mind Control blog, you will find that he has done a wonderful one on did the UK go for full herd immunity right at the start? And he presents the evidence that shows in actual fact it was always Boris Johnson's, along with Dominic Cummings' strategy, to go for full herd immunity and get people out there and not keep them socially distanced, not keep them locked down straight away like many experts would have said to do. But politically, they couldn't be seen to doing that because many would argue that that was putting the public in danger, even though others would argue that getting herd immunity was a better option. There's arguments both ways. Okay, but the point is, the evidence is there that he went for full herd immunity. And recently, in the past few weeks, articles have come out in America, in the so-called mainstream media. So, you know, if you're going to believe what governments say and media say is true, then you kind of have to go with the fact that they put these articles. Unfortunately, the other side, this is where the lines get grey, because they do occasionally publish some truths so that they can get away more easily with publishing disinformation weaved in to manipulate and control. It makes way more sense when you listen to the podcast and watch the documentary at the link above or below this video. But recently, as I say again, stuff's come out that it looks like, you know, Trump purposely went for herd immunity as well. Go to Neil Sanders' blog, follow him on social media as well. Evidence galore there. Be sure to check out the podcasts and the video that's located at the link above or below this, and check out your experts before you believe in them. You've got to ask yourself a question. If somebody lies about one thing or massively misrepresents it, can you really trust other stuff? Now, it can be that they just lie about one or two things, or overstate their achievements on one or two little things, and the rest of the stuff they're on about is actually factual, truthful and honest. Unfortunately, without making sure that you independently verify the stuff, the best bit of advice here is, if you uncover the fact they've lied about something, then it's probably a clue and a signpost that it's worth paying double and triple attention to anything else they claim. Doesn't mean to say it won't be true or founded in fact, but be sure to actually find independent evidence from other sources before you start believing it. Because sadly, as you will learn, and yes, a lot of you will suffer from cognitive dissonance, but the real people who've been played here, however you look at it, is the general public, but not in the way most truth researchers or conspiracy researchers are putting it. They're putting it that the public have been played, that actually there is nothing, that the COVID thing is just like the flu relabeled, and that it's no more dangerous. All of these things are myths, and the evidence that they're nonsense is on Neil Sanders' blog that I've linked to above or below. It's on my page. It is something very real. There's lots of misinformation out there. There's lots of stuff that's being said just to divide and conquer and cause arguments, and also to make people go out and encourage people to ignore the official story, as it were, so that then they will ignore social distancing, they will ignore whatever the other rules are that are in place, which effectively means they're more likely to get the herd immunity that was always the plan in the first place. So it's not that they're manipulating and emotionally controlling you to hide things or to make you think something exists that doesn't. No, that is actually, they've actually seeded, planted misinformation of that nature through information operations, cognitive warfare, psychological warfare, call it what you will, through psyops. They are mimetic warfare, memes with bits of apparent facts on that many of them are untrue and misinformation. They get seeded and sent out there and then shared through multiple fake accounts so that they become viral very quickly, and then people accept them as being real and don't bother to do too much research on them, which is the major mistake. And once people are down the line, so many people have shared them, and people, especially with tick accounts on social media, are held in high regard. If they were to later then find out that what they've shared is nonsense, or is a misrepresentation of the truth, or is a complete fabricated lie sometimes, then it's very difficult, almost impossible for them to admit that that is the case. because it would feel bad and they feel it would make them look bad. So they just tend to keep quiet and hope that nobody will notice. Well, here's the thing. Neil Saunders has noticed, I've noticed, a number of others have noticed. And the real psyop here is that in reference to the pandemic, as it were, is to manipulate and control people to divide and conquer, so that people do argue, so that you get a camp of people who are more easily likely to go and get the vax. And yeah, let's not get into the debate that it's coming out in the past few days that, you know, more and more experts are saying that having a third, fourth and fifth booster is pointless. That's not the debate here. The fact is, Law, that things, on the one hand, people become more likely to go and get it done when they wouldn't have done when all this stuff's going on, psychological confusion and disorientation. And then the other people will shout out loudly, no, 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 because they believe the false narrative that's been put out there through the mimetic warfare and psychological operations and all this kind of stuff. And the disinformation and the arguments and confusion caused by the media as well, both mainstream and alternative, because of the clever way they've manipulated it. Yes, what I'm saying is many of the big names in the truth and conspiracy media have unknowingly been, call it what you will, brainwashed, hypnotised, manipulated into sharing information as though it was fact that actually isn't, for the benefit of governments and the powers that be. The exact people that apparently think they're opposing or exposing are the people who've actually behind the scenes manipulated them into doing this. It'll make more sense if you go and look at Neil Saunders' blog. You'll find all the links above or below this video. Mass formation psychosis, mass psychosis, call it what you will. It's just hypnosis suggestion. It's emotional psychological manipulation. It's something I've talked about for decades. I've talked about right from the start of this pandemic in the context of COVID, as you can see at the podcast links and the videos that are on my blog, the links above or below this. And as I say, it's in those books I mentioned earlier. Go actually do some study. I know a lot of people are going to have cognitive dissonance with this and be really upset by what I'm saying. But just to finish, maybe it'll make some of the truth and conspiracy people feel a bit better. I am not saying that governments do not, at the top of them, the people behind the scenes, the committee of 300, your Rockefellers, your Rothschilds, even the people you've never heard of, even more powerful than them. I'm not saying have not got nefarious motives. I actually believe they have. Although to them they may not think it is. But in terms of the mass populace, they want control, they want power, they want the massive amount of wealth, they want to control the work around us. We are considered different, on a different level, as it were. And these are things that I do cover in my book, Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, and my documentary, all the details that link above or below this video. So yes, I am saying that Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, the Great Global Reset, search the phrase Build Back Better. You know, at the start of this pandemic, Agenda 21, the idea that Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 had items within them that are about depopulating the planet by millions of people, were held up as conspiracy theories. Nonsense, ridiculous. The idea that there was some kind of plan for a great global reset to financially collapse the world economy and work towards a one world banking system with a one world currency where people are chipped with a digital ID, all seemed ridiculous, and yet over the past 2 years have become mentioned in the mainstream media as the public become desensitised to things. That's the thing. They've been bringing it into, like, these things are reality, they're fast occurring. A China-style social credit system for the entire world could happen if, you know, more and more of your privacy is taken away, and the digital IDs, check out digital ID online, search it, Project 2020, I believe it was. All of these things are covered in my book, at the links on the blog. Yes, people in power want more power. Yes, many of them do have nefarious means. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, because at the lower levels, there's people who don't know what the motives are of those people. There are some politicians, MPs, and journalists out there even who are completely honest, want the best, want the truth, and are working to try and counteract things. But you've got to make sure you check out everything and independently research it. Because again, I say, go and look at Neil Saunders' blog. As I wish you happy Hypnotism Day 2022. It's time to wake up. The picture is much bigger than many believe. Please share this video far and wide because mass formation psychosis is trending, thanks to Joe Rogan having interviewed Dr. Robert Malone. In fact, share this video as many times as you can with Joe Rogan. I'd love to have a conversation with him about this and the fact that it's nothing new, and those books I mentioned again. Just to finish, Gustave Le Bon, Gustave, Gustave Le Bon, published in 1895 originally. You can get it on Amazon. The Crowd, a study of the popular mind. Then in 1841, Charles Mackay's Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. 1928, Propaganda by Edward Bernays. 1984, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. 2017, The Ellipsis Manual, Analysis and Engineering of Human Behaviour by Chase Hughes. And 2019, Jonathan Royle's Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, Conspiracy Theories, MK Ultra, Mind Control, Brainwashing and Social Engineering Exposed. Oh yeah, 2 other books. Do yourself a favour. Your Thoughts Are Not Your Own, Volumes 1 and Volumes 2 by Neil Saunders. Go to the link above or below now. Click like, share this. Happy World Hypnotism Day.